Hiya folks, quick intro. Reason I'm doing an intro is because this is something a little bit different. It's a flip top workbench which I've been wanting to do. I've got another one to do. It's a long video because I've got my thought processes going through it, how I made it and what I've used for materials. So it might be interesting to some people if you're interested in making a flip top bench and you're new here. Hello. Don't forget to drop a comment in or any questions. But a big thank you out to LA. 3000% sent me a wonderful Christmas card and these mushroom spawn which you can get from Sutton Seeds, portobellos or button mushrooms. You can grow them at home. I'll get on with it. Don't forget, thumbs up, thumbs down. Nice to be nice. See, problem I've got there, getting it out all the time. It's actually less of a problem now. I've moved bench, but still could work out a lot better for me. Let's have a look. Them boards are 50 wide. Yeah. Oop. Sorry about that. Them boards are 50 wide. This is actually 48. And then folded depth is approximately 50, maybe a little bit less. Just going to the back of that. Yeah, probably about 48 again. So let's semi-saws 48 by 48. And in that plane it is 55, 56. Again, approximately. I've got to go bigger than that, haven't I, obviously. So that all depends on which way I flip it. I think it's going to be flipped that way. And if it's 48 that way and 50 that way, that's not too bad. Because what I've got to do, I'll show you this in a sec. So I've obviously got to build some sort of cabinet. So I've got them two sides, they're 50 and 50. So that's alright on the width at saw, yeah? Now, when this top is a flat top, I want it to be flat here as well. I don't want no upstands on either side. So that's one thing. But when it's flipped, it can drop. If I go, when it's flipped, it can drop. So I've got to look how I'm going to attach the tube as a mechanism. It would. The tube couldn't be mounted on top of that. It's got to be strong, but it should be strong enough. So, and when the tube, if you imagine that's my piece of wood, when it's flat on the bench with no saw on it, I need the two edges to be flush. When it's flipped, imagine that's the hinge. When it's flipped, it don't matter if that is on top. So whatever depth my tube is, that'll be drop on that. And I don't mind having that drop because that's not going to interfere with bed of the saw. Let me pull you back a bit. That's not going to interfere with bed at saw, and the tube will fit nicely under that. So that works out quite well. And that should really do it. It should be alright. I've just got to work out my heights because, as ever, it's having wheels on it. And then that'll make it totally portable. So, this is what I've got. This is part of a trampoline, you know, uprights for safety. I mean, it's not water pipe like I've seen a lot of people use, but it should do the job. I've got a few pieces. You know when the wife says to you, get rid of that junk pile? See? Method to my madness. But I've got a few pieces of this, so which is handy because I've got another flip top table to make. So don't get rid of them pipes when your wife tells you. And what I've got for wheels again, and I'll explain this in very simple layman's terms. I priced wheels up like this, I mentioned it before, with the plates on. These haven't got plates on, these are just a bolt through, yeah? The locking ones were $28 each, 28 francs each. This entire unit with 4 wheels cost 16 francs. So if you're looking for shop wheels, this is a cheap way to do it. Cracked it. Junk piles. Don't you just love junk piles? Here I'm just making sure that my saw blade is square and setting up a straight edge. The board is on top of the dogs, so I don't cut into my workbench. Dogs are very useful, I've found. And then what I've got to do is work out my holes. For these, I've marked these top. The cutting's pretty good, that's absolutely bang on. But if there's any discrepancy on these, which is possibly half a millimetre, but what I've done is I've reversed the cut. Let's have a look, quick measure. I reversed the cut so that when the two tops come together, whatever, if there's any disparity, anything that's different on this, as long as I reverse it, even a millimetre on that, it'll be exactly the same. So that works out that's absolutely, them two are absolutely the same size, 120, and that's 64. So I'm going to make that the top and bottom 60 wide. I know the saw itself is 50 wide, so it leaves me plenty on sides still. But that'll allow that to be either a shelf or a stretcher. Yeah. So I'm going to cut these two together, and just to make sure that my distances are right. Use my square. Get one set up. Get the other set up. Means it. Mid straight edges exactly the same place. I'm cutting from the other side as well this time, so I've accommodated slightly for me. So it doesn't really matter as long as these two are the same size because they're top and bottom. That's my top, my bottom, and my shelf. Now they're all exactly the same size. What I've got to work out now is the angle of the dangle. The swing. So this pipe's 25mm, and I just basically had to work out where it were going to go and how it were going to fit. Marked it up, obviously, allowing for the centre on that, so that my worktop was flat in the top when I needed it to be. I had a little bit of waste there just to sort of give me an idea how it were going to go when it were finished and when it were flipped, and looking at where it came to when it were flipped for my shelf underneath. I drilled a test hole in a piece of scrap just to make sure it goes in alright, and this is the piece what I'm using as a hinge. I was going to drill them both together, both sides, but I decided not to, just in case my drill was slightly out and it would double the angle it was out if I did them both together. So I did them one at once, and they worked out quite well. I didn't do bad there for measurements. In fact, I would say that's as near as perfect you're going to get. Just cutting the shims for the side pieces, and slow motion sparks are always cool, aren't they? So I thought I'd just add this little bit in. Just cleaned all the cuts up with a file. Yes, I did cut myself on the sharp steel. Just fitting the shims in the sides. They went in eventually. It was a bit of a struggle, but they won't be coming out. But they will protect the sides and obviously prolong the life of the table. To fix the pipe to the top, I just drilled and screwed it to the top. I drilled some holes at the end as well, so I could put a machine screw into the small pipe that I'm using as a hinge.
So that's that drilled and these cut, and basically they'll go inside that and into the sidewall. And what I'll do is I'll drill and tap a machine screw into that, so that then at any point if this needs to come apart I can take it apart. I tapped and screwed them. Now if you notice there's a bigger hole there because I thought I had something bigger than I actually had. Come on boys, you know what I'm talking about.
Again, how useful are dogs? You never knew how much you needed them until you've had them. If you've got a workbench, put dogs on it. I'm just setting this up in situ, upside down, and putting it together, clamping it together with dogs so that I can put the pipes in and get it all screwed in so it all lines up nicely. But yeah, you've got to love dogs. Here I'm just working out the balance and the position for the saw. It's a little bit back heavy, but that's not a problem. It worked out okay.
So I've just been digging through my screw boxes and nut boxes. I thought I had some of them that are shorter to hold my saw down, but what I've found is these. Now, although they'll run through actual board, I'm thinking of putting them in bar as well, because they've got a nicer thread, nicer thicker wood thread than the other ones under a thicker screw altogether. So that's just me OCD about overbuilding things. So I'm going to put them in it and I'll nick ends off. Right then, I'm going to crack on putting bottom on. Like I said, bottom goes on inside. Knock it together with these are 550s. I'll just drill some pilot holes and we should be good to go. You just don't know how useful dogs are until you've got some on your bench. This will be me stretcher and the bottom shelf. I've just cut down a couple of guides. That's for my height. Please note, splitter fitted, don't need a nut shot. You can see that, yeah? All I've done is two spaces same size, so that brings that down. This then will be my front.
Just fitting the top and testing it. Put the machine nuts in, which that just holds that pipe in place, nothing can move. And I did find the far side is a little bit low, but I found a cure for that.
So my measurement were close, but that is the play in that pipe. So all I'm going to do is put a couple of washers under and two screws, and then that should bring that up to flat like this is. That side works out perfect, but that one's a little bit low. Not a bad fix though. And that sorted that out. I sanded most of these cut edges, apart from that one. But yes, now I'll put the wheels on it. Oh, I'm gonna have to get some holes in this just to make sure, so I can put some pins in it. I'll do that first, because then I've got to flip it, put the wheels on. I'm not going to put that in yet. I'm going to put that in when saw's mounted to it. Well, almost there. I would, well, not school by error, something I didn't consider was when I spin that, that's going to be down there. So when I spin it, these are just temporary. I might just make some little knobs for them or something, or I've done them, it's a 5mm hole, so I can go bigger if I need to do something else, but that's just as it goes, and I just put that on top so that it held everything square and flat with top when I drilled them. But yeah, I'm going to have to put some blocks underneath here for these to go in when it's turned over, and all I'll do is drill through the same holes. I've got a couple of little bits of this or whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's just to hold it. As I said, I'll tidy it, but pretty is not what I've absolutely gone for here. It's practical, and it's not actually too ugly. I wasn't going to show you that, but I thought may as well. That was just that plant pot holder. So again, got brakes and wheels for next to nothing compared to what they usually cost here. I would look at plant pot holders, and they're nice sized rubber wheels. They're not the little ones, which on this floor, the bigger ones work great. If you've got a cable or anything like that that's in the way, they don't stop on that. So I think that's cured that. I drilled them holes a millimetre bigger. These are, I drilled them at 4, and these are 4, just to make them easier to get in and out. Like I say, I might end up making some plugs for that, or find a different way to do that, but that'll hold that nice solid. And I'll get this saw fixed on it and see where we get to with that.
Just fixing the saw down. Put some washers on, fixed down nice and tight. I'm going to make a cable holder, which that would help. And what I also did is drilled the holes out slightly larger, as you can see here. That just makes them pins go in and out easier. I did drill them a little bit small at first, but I'm really pleased.
So, and that's how it turned out. I'm really pleased with that. It's very portable, extra table if I want an extra table, worktop, and easy to flip out. Cost wise, it cost me about 60 francs. I had a piece of cut off for this board. I had the board that cost me 24 for a full board, and the wheels cost me 16. The bits for the saw, the clamp and extensions, and the bag, which never really gets used, but it's got somewhere to live. I've got a bit of space underneath as well, but it's so much easier just to use and portability. So, in all honesty, I'm made up with that. Learned a couple of lessons. I have got another one to make, so it's will be straightforward. Obviously I won't do a video on the next one, but that makes my shop so much so much better. It's a small shop, but now I've got access to that, and I know I mentioned it before, but that is going to replace that, and everything off that will go under that bench where the saw was. So I'm actually getting more space again, which is important. Next one is for me joint a router, joint a planer, and then that will be everything done that I need to do really. But really happy with that. One of my jobs today will make some knobs for them.